Look around you. Most people are not the masters of their own minds. They are biological puppets. If someone insults them, they become angry. If someone ignores them, they become depressed. If someone flatters them, they become arrogant. Their entire internal state is completely dictated by the external world. They hand the remote control of their emotions to absolute strangers. This is not living. This is a state of perpetual emotional slavery. You think you are free, but your reactions belong to everyone else. Understand the brutal mathematics of human interaction. The moment you react emotionally to a provocation, you have lost the war. Anger is not a display of power. It is a confession of vulnerability. When you raise your voice, when you rush to defend yourself, you are proving to the enemy that their words successfully pierced your armor. A king does not step down from his throne to fight a peasant in the mud. By reacting, you bring yourself down to their level and validate their existence. Anger is the most expensive tax you can pay in this life. It drains your focus, destroys your strategic thinking, and blinds you to the actual reality of the situation. While you are burning with outrage over a minor disrespect at your workplace, the silent, cold-blooded observer is calculating their next move and climbing the ladder. You cannot afford the luxury of a hot temper. Your mental energy is a finite resource. Do not set it on fire just because someone handed you a match. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus laid down the ultimate law. It is not things that upset us, but our judgments about those things. An insult is just a vibration of air. It has no physical weight. It cannot cut your skin. It cannot empty your bank account, and it cannot alter your actual value. The damage only occurs if you voluntarily open the gates of your mind and accept the insult as truth. Reject the delivery. If you do not accept the insult, it continues to belong to the one who threw it. There is a fraction of time between a stimulus and your response. That microscopic space is where your absolute freedom lies. The untrained mind reacts instantly, like a frightened animal. The architect of the cold mind enforces the 2-second rule. When chaos hits, when the email arrives, or when the disrespect happens, you freeze. You take 2 deliberate seconds to breathe. Observe the mechanical nature of the attack and let the initial wave of biological adrenaline pass. In that pause, you become untouchable. You must step out of your own body and view the conflict from above. Imagine you are a cold, mechanical camera lens recording a documentary. Look at the person shouting at you. Observe their flushed face, their erratic breathing, and their desperate need for control. Do not judge them. Just analyze them like a biologist studying a fascinating yet primitive insect. When you detach your ego from the situation and become a mere observer, the threat dissolves into a pathetic display of weakness. When dealing with toxic, chaotic individuals, your greatest weapon is your silence. They thrive on drama. They throw out bait, hoping you will bite so they can drag you into their storm. If you remain completely silent and hold eye contact without shifting a single muscle in your face, they will begin to panic. They will talk more. They will expose their own flaws and eventually drown in the silence you provided. The cold mind does not fight the storm. It simply refuses to get wet. The transition to the cold mind is a permanent rewiring of your nervous system. You must filter every crisis through a rigid framework of logic. Ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years? Is my immediate reaction going to solve the problem or multiply it? Hot blood leads to impulsive emails, ruined reputations, and shattered authority. Cold logic dictates that you collect the data, assess the damage, and execute a calculated surgical response when the time is right. You are a tactician, not a victim. You must understand a profound psychological truth. An unprovoked attack is rarely about you. When someone directs their sudden anger, jealousy, or bitterness toward your life, they are not actually seeing you. They are looking into a mirror and fighting their own failures. They are broadcasting their deep insecurities to the world, and they want to use you as the punching bag for their own misery. If you react, you accept their garbage. You absorb their poison. The cold mind recognizes that their chaos is their own property. Leave it with them. In the modern world, your attention is the most valuable currency you possess. People will do absolutely anything to steal it. They will create drama, they will spread rumors, and they will manufacture fake emergencies just to force you to look at them. By refusing to react, you become a vacuum. You deny them the exact currency they are desperate to collect. Starving an opponent of your attention is far more devastating than arguing with them. When they realize their words fall into an empty void, they will eventually collapse under their own useless weight. You only get offended because you have an ego that you believe needs defending. The ego is a fragile, soft target. It constantly demands respect, validation, and praise. The Stoic masters realized that if you erase the ego, you remove the target completely. You become like water. If someone strikes water with a sword, the water does not bleed, it does not complain, and it does not fight back. It simply swallows the blade and returns to its peaceful state. Kill the ego in the dark, and nobody will ever be able to insult you in the light. Imagine a heavy, solid wall made of dark stone. Now imagine someone throwing small pebbles at that wall. The wall does not feel the impact. It does not get angry at the stones. It does not try to throw the stones back. It simply exists, massive and unbothered, while the tiny pebbles bounce off and fall into the dirt. This must become your psychological architecture. Let them throw their pathetic words. Let them throw their judgments. Remain completely static. You are the stone wall. They are just making noise. Silence is not just an absence of sound. It is a psychological weapon. Average people are terrified of silence. It makes them intensely nervous. When they are angry or trying to manipulate you, they expect you to argue back. It is a predictable rhythm. But when you break that rhythm by offering absolutely nothing, you create an uncomfortable void. To fill that terrifying silence, they will usually keep talking, over-explaining, and eventually destroying their own argument. You win the battle without firing a single shot. Your face is an interface that leaks data to your enemies. A slight frown, a twitch of the eye, a tightening of the jaw. These are micro-expressions that tell the manipulator they are successfully hurting you. You must train yourself to become completely unreadable. When the attack comes, relax your facial muscles entirely. Look at them with dead, empty eyes. Give them zero data to process. When they cannot read your emotional state, they lose their power because they do not know what weapon to use next. Society teaches you that you must stand your ground and win every argument to earn respect. This is a trap designed for fools. True power is recognizing that the argument itself is completely beneath you. You do not need the last word. You do not need to prove you are right to a mind that is committed to misunderstanding you. The ultimate execution of non-reaction is simply turning your back and walking away. You withdraw your presence entirely. It leaves the aggressor screaming into an empty room. Every time you engage in petty drama, you are stealing resources from your own future. You are taking the energy that should be used to build your business, train your body, or secure your financial freedom, and you are wasting it on meaningless friction. Master the internal economy of your mind. Guard your focus with lethal precision. The cold mind understands that time spent reacting to peasants is time stolen from building the empire. Stay silent, stay cold, keep building. The true test of the cold mind happens in the real world. Consider the corporate environment. A colleague sends a passive-aggressive email, or your boss makes a subtle, insulting remark during a meeting. The biological puppet immediately defends itself, raises its voice, or writes a long, emotional reply. This is exactly what the sniper wants. Instead, you offer the void. You look at them, acknowledge the words with a slow, silent nod, and immediately change the subject back to the objective data. Your terrifying lack of emotional response makes their insult echo loudly and pathetically in the room. The hardest test will come from those closest to you, family members or old friends who have known you for years, know the exact buttons to push to make you explode. They expect the old, reactive version of you. When they push that button and the machine does not respond, they will experience a system shock. Familiarity does not grant anyone the right to disrespect your peace. When a close friend uses your past against you, hit them with the cold wall. Your absolute silence will rewrite the dynamic of the entire relationship in 5 seconds. When you are forced into a confrontation, your physical posture must match your mental ice. Do not look away, do not fidget, and do not blink rapidly. Lock your eyes directly onto their pupils. A cold, unblinking dead stare breaks the human psyche faster than any shouting match. It signals to the primitive brain of your attacker that they are dealing with an apex predator who is completely unafraid. When you look at an angry person with zero emotion in your eyes, they will naturally look away first. You establish dominance without uttering a single syllable. Think of the earth. When a massive destructive bolt of lightning strikes the ground, the earth does not strike back. It does not complain about the heat. It simply absorbs the raw energy, grounds it, and neutralizes it instantly. You must become the psychological ground. When someone strikes you with their toxic energy, absorb it into the dark void of your mind and neutralize it. Let their energy disappear into your silence. They will eventually exhaust themselves while you remain completely untouched and fully charged. This is the final state of the architect. You walk through the crowds, the offices, and the chaos, completely untouched by the madness around you. You hear the gossip, you witness the panic, and you see the emotional slaves dancing on their strings. But you are no longer one of them. You have achieved the ultimate detachment. Your peace is no longer dependent on the good behavior of other people. You are the master of your internal gates, and those gates are made of heavy iron. You become a physical reality, but an emotional ghost. You arrive, you do the heavy lifting, you build your empire, and you execute your plans flawlessly, but you leave zero emotional footprints for others to track or manipulate. They cannot catch what they cannot touch. They cannot hurt what refuses to feel. By practicing the absolute art of non-reaction, you elevate yourself above the petty games of modern society. You are no longer playing on their board. The knowledge is now in your hands. Tomorrow morning, the world will test you again. Someone will disrespect you. Someone will try to hand you their anger. You have a choice. Will you grab the puppet strings, react, and hand over your power? Or will you freeze time, enforce the 2-second rule, and stare into their chaos with cold, dead indifference? The difference between a king and a slave is simply a matter of reaction. Welcome to Zenith Construct. We do not participate in the drama of the week. We observe it from the citadel. If you are ready to cut the strings of emotional slavery and master the true art of cold power, subscribe now. Join the alliance of the unshakable. become unbreakable. The forge is burning, but the mind remains pure